Okay, you ready?
Are we going to be on television?
Is there a Toronto art scene?
Yes, there is a Toronto art scene. To say that Toronto is a multicultural environment where so many cultures of diversity live in one area, to say that all the cultures have decorative adornments that represents their sacredness and their identity. So the culture and the art scene is ever expanding, just like the universe.
Okay, what I'm trying to get at, right? Is there a movement happening? Me myself, what I'm trying to find out is, as far as a black artist, what do you see yourself? How do you see yourself fitting in to what's happening in the whole scheme of things in Toronto? Well, I mean, like, as far as, like, where do you fit in, man?
Where do I fit in? I fit in is as a representative of my identity and my culture, to say that as an artist being successful in today's society, it shows that our culture is becoming more distinguished, more recognized, more prominent, and more favored, more appreciated.
Okay, so we're at the Kuklu Gallery, and the first impressions exhibit is getting ready to begin. Bahailu is one of the artists, Joy Peterson, Jacqueline Ward, and we're just getting ready to warm up and get things started. Okay, and we're going out into the gallery space itself. First we have Joy Peterson's work. She's a sculptor, and we have quite a few of her pieces. She goes definitely for the emotional expression, emotional intensity, capturing moments in time. So she does that quite effectively, utilizing actually quite a variety of materials, primarily mixed media. And she goes for the tactile yet visual sensibility, utilizing cement, plaster, wood, clay, and additional pigments. So the works come in a variety of sizes, and you just get a variety of expressions.
Why do you do your art?
It chose me, in a sense. Okay. It's a gift.
Okay.
That is very life enriching for me.
Okay. So you love to do art, you know? That's basically what you say.
Actually, it's funny. I never liked art.
Okay.
Ever. Did I? And in kindergarten class, I used to hate finger painting, and I used to shy away from art. So, to be honest with you, art was not something that I liked to create or participate in.
So, like, you're absolutely right, and then it chose you. You're just like an instrument for the art, for some artistic spirit out there.
Believe it or not, most of this work was done within the last 5 years, right? Because I lived in this building, not necessarily the studio, for the past 5 years, and a lot of the work have been done at that time. Practically most of it, 3/4.
Last night I was so depressed, and I went and got the Bible, and I turned to the book of Revelation. And if people would just get and read the Bible and read the book of Revelations, they would really turn around and straighten out. This is all we need to do, is just get the good book and read it and put it to everyday life.
Along this wall we have the work of Ethiopian artist Bahailu. And Bahailu actually did his studies in Ethiopia, and he's well traveled. He started out in Addis Ababa, he's moved along to Italy and to Halifax, where he's looked at Halifax. He did his studies at the Nova Scotia College of Art and Design, which is quite a knowledgeable institution. So this is some of his computer-generated work. He also works with pen and inks. He's a graphic design illustrator. And some of the other mediums here, we have some watercolor works as well. So he works with oils and acrylic as well. So he's quite an accomplished artist. I'm quite pleased to have him here.
Why did you do art, man?
It's a long story. Since I was a kid, I always liked to draw and paint, and I love art. And one of my uncles, actually, he's my big inspiration. He was an artist, and I remember he had all his paintings on the wall, and there was so many art materials, and I started, using those materials, and I liked it.
And these are the works of Jacqueline Ward. And Jacqueline is a strong believer in the use of color, in the therapy of color, the expressiveness of color. Now, she did some of her studies in England, in addition to college, Sheridan College, I believe, here in Toronto. So this is her first major showing of some of her works, and she works in quite a few media as well. Acrylics, oils. She uses mixed media, sand as well. She does work on an illustration board. And color and form in an abstract sensibility is what Jacqueline brings forward. There's a subtle play of many different readings within the work that you get from Jacqueline.
I have here Jacqueline Ward. How you doing, Jacqueline? Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Likewise. Okay, listen. Tell me something. Why do you do art? I've been asking everybody the same question, but I'm looking for a particular answer. Why do you do art?
Why do I do art?
Why?
It's the way I express myself.
Basically, I'm an artist who do what I want, and as far as the arts, it's not basically a step-by-step method I go through. It's random. Everything I see and I can use it, I use. If I can't use it, I keep it around for a while, and maybe I can use it in the future or something. Again, these are just plastic guns. They can't shoot anybody. Water pistols. If you feel so bad about guns, go complain about the people who manufacture the guns, the National Rifle Associations, and Field and Stream, and the police and stuff, and who advocate in the army, who advocate guns. I use guns to let people keep thinking about real ones, so you'll do something about the real ones. Yeah, this is an amazing triptych here. Maybe if you stand back. It's part of a series that I want to do some more. I want to do about 7 these doors. They're all just on doors. I find working on doors pretty convenient. It's like cheap. You find them and stuff, whatnot, right? And just a stick figure, bright colors and stuff, a little bit of writing on them. I just started with 1, and I got the idea from the first one. Decided to make 3 of them. Pit bull and a white shark mix. That'd be a pretty vicious animal, preying on innocence. Okay, I'm gonna do my close-up down here, right? While I'm working. Yeah, you ready? Just say when. Yeah, the thing is, right? Basically, I got so much work to do right now that a lot of people, I see a lot of artists out there they're trying to, they just try to stick to what they're doing and finish it.
Okay, great. Well, I would like to, first of all, welcome you all to the Kukulu Gallery. This is the first time that these 3 particular artists are showing at the Kukulu Gallery. And it's kind of a special moment for us to open them up, to show them, put them on display in the community.
As far as being a non-artist, right? The whole scene is, to me, as being an artist, it's kind of slow. What kind of technique do you have in speeding it up?
Well, I've just entered the art scene, and as somebody had mentioned to me before, wherever there's a wall, wherever there's space, wherever there's lighting, there should be a show. For African-Canadian artists, it's been long in the process.
Do you think there's an attitude you gotta have in order to be taken serious as a black artist?
For one thing, I think you have to love what you're doing. Once you start looking at where you can get or trying to break through walls, you kind of lose something in your art. Once you work on that and develop yourself as an artist, you look for ways to promote yourself, and you get a lot further instead of getting caught up in the rhetoric and getting caught up in the who's who and what's what.
Like, name things as far as strategies, as far as advertisement, like.
I don't know about advertisement, but I mean like linking up with other artists, getting involved in organizations that foster growth in artists, and not just if you're an African-Canadian artist. I mean, you look towards galleries have memberships that you can go out there and get.
Most an artist don't really want to join any organizations. I just want to be more like independent. Is there like where I'm coming from is I'm not coming from I'm coming from I'm asking you as a curator handling artists. What advice would you tell them if they don't want to join a gallery? Like what would you tell them and they still want to like be known? Is there any kind of strategies?
Well, I mean, once you say being known, you have to put in the work. You have to really put in the groundwork and develop yourself. You can't just say, you know, I feel I'm an artist, therefore I am an artist.
Right.
And if they don't accept me, then you know, to hell with them. If you want to go through the process of growing, then you have to join things that will foster that growth.
True.
I do believe that an artist should practice their art, and that's why there's reps. That's to facilitate that empty space, to bridge between the artists working and getting their work out there.
Well, how do you see like 5 years from now? How do you see what's going to be happening? You know, because you can see like the shows happening. There's a little bit of excitement happening in the art world. You know, there's Salafi coming up and whatnot. Like 5 years, what do you see happening? Is it positive or negative?
It's positive. I mean, there's galleries like this opening up. I feel people are more ready to, especially with, and I have to link it to music, with the music developing so much, they're ready to actually see the art. And there's no shortage of sites, there's no shortage of spaces for artists to exhibit their work. It's just really them getting out there and meeting these people that can do the groundwork for them.
What do you think of the show?
It was nice.
It was nice? Okay.
Yeah.
Is there anything to buy? Is anything like grab you to say like I want to buy that?
Yeah, I asked him to buy me something, but he said not today.
Okay. So this is a good opportunity, in other words, to get, like you said, to come to Kukulu to see different black artists.
Yeah.
So it's a positive. It's a positive.
Oh yeah,
deal.
it is positive. It's positive.
Okay, good man. Getting our message out there. You know, so this right now is just not another show. Tonight was a very special night, and I want people to realize that.
Okay, so we're gonna give it to him, right?
Okay.
I'm thinking.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Okay. 1, 2. Right. Thank you, Black Art Television, for joining us at the Kukulu for First Impression. Hopefully not the last impression, because the first one lasts long.
It will last a long
Long time. Okay. For joining us at First Impression. Good luck all the way, because there's a lot of black art to cover.
Keep coming though. Keep coming.
All right, right here.
Kukulu.
And all around, lots of art to cover. So good luck all the way. See you soon. Bye.
What's happening is to say that the artists in the black community, the black artists of Canada, are now starting to show their prominence, and the society as a whole are now starting to see art as the audience and appreciate the sacredness of our art that illustrates our culture. And this particular piece is my first freestyle.
African stories sometimes teach us something about African art. So that was one of the reasons I told the story, which is about Bear Rabbit, who's in his region, the area was very dry. Basically there was a drought. And he was trying to figure out how to get water. So he climbed up onto a roof and into his roof and looked around and saw a patch of green in the distance. He ran towards the area of green, and when he found the fence, he went underneath the fence, went down a pathway where he found a pool of water. And in the middle of the pool, there's this sign which says, "This is the king's water." So Bear Rabbit took a dashing leap and he put it in the water and he brought it home. Soon his neighbors got to find out he had water. So early the next morning, he went up again, back to the pool. He drew his water in his bucket, came out, and then he found he was feeling kind of musky because he hadn't bathed for a few days. So he went in the water and bathed and went home. Now his neighbors, finding that he had all this water, started bringing him different items in exchange for water. Saltfish, different items of food. So Bear Rabbit started to feel important. So the next day when he went back to get his water, he He took his water, had his bath, and then he felt he had to do something else. So he leaned down on a rock, and then he let it go. But then he found the stuff in the water was looking too much like his. So he took out a piece of wood and he mashed it up. Now the king's people came to get water for the morning's breakfast. When they came, they found, they brought the king his water, and when he drank, he found that there was something else in the water. They wanted to find out who was putting that stuff in the water. So he called his wise men together and they built a tar baby. Now the tar baby, Brer Rabbit found the next morning. He said, "Good morning, madam." The woman didn't answer. And Brer Rabbit started to get angry, so he slapped her. Then he said, let me go, and she wouldn't let him go, so he slapped him the next time. Kicked, and so forth, and then he's caught. Meanwhile, the king's soldiers come back and find him there on the tar baby. They pull him off, bring him out, and tie him up. Now, Brer Tiger, meanwhile, is passing by, sees Brer Rabbit, and what happened? He said, "Brer Rabbit, what you doing there all tied up?" Brer Rabbit said, "Man, you know, what happened is me. They tie me up and they want me to eat that big bull in the field over there." So Brer Tiger said, "They want you to eat that bull in the field over there? Man, what? Let me untie you." So he untie him, and Brer Rabbit tie him, and then he left him. Now, what I was pointing out in the story was that with when there was a problem, the king approached his wise men who built the tar baby. Right, the tar baby is the art object, right? So it places the artist within the position of the wise person. Now, there's also, because the story comes from a Maroon culture, which is a derivative of African culture, there's various inferences in terms of survival. So you have the area where Brer Rabbit is abusing the woman. Is a lesson to people under pressure who are on the run, not to abuse their partners, because that type of situation creates that type of dynamic, right? Now you have Brer Rabbit who under pressure, like, because the Maroons were always on the go raiding plantations and stuff, right? So that when they get caught, that you don't lose your head, that you can find a way of escaping. And then Brer Tiger's part in the story is to illustrate that you should never let your stomach rule your head.
Just I remember that particular story as a child myself. How far does that go back? Because I have heard variations of it.
It goes back all the way to Africa, right? And generations upon generations.
The term Brer, as in Brer Rabbit, does it have any meaning that you know of?
Brother.
Oh, Brother Rabbit.
Yeah.
Here with Sherman Jones, my homeboy, fellow artist.
Peace.
And we'll be taking a look at his studio, and one of his studios in actuality, to find out what's been happening for the past months, or the past month after his show down in Kensington. So right now we'll be going inside the studio and taking a look at it.
Yeah, all right.
See what's up. What kind of ideas you got about kicking up the art scene in TO, man?
Well, first to begin, I think we need to get some more venues. Maybe even if to own our own venues, like a gallery or something. I think that plus to more media exposure.
Every artist wants to sell their work, right? Mm. What kind of strategies do you, Sherman Jones, have in mind? To make your work sell more, like for people to buy your work. For you to show and eventually people buy your work. What are the strategies you have?
Well, Wally, starting off with the limited resources, what I plan to do is produce as much work as possible, and after I produce enough work, like a body of work, I plan to do shows, which I already starting from December, remember, in December, and as much shows as possible until I get known in the Toronto scene.
Okay, what kind of strategy? Suppose you go to a gallery and they tell you, "Sorry, man, we're not looking for this." Do you have any particular strategies?
What I'm trying to do now is reach out to some of the commercial places that I could get my work showed in, like for example, a place like Third World bookstores, the little places where little galleries that are more Afrocentric, oriented, for them to get to know me, as well as
But don't you think by, for instance, this interview right now is one way of people to know Sherman Jones? You mentioned the Harambe Hour. What was that? Was that on the radio?
Yeah, that was on CIUT.
Yeah.
And well, actually, at the time that I did it was when they were doing the pledges and everything. But I still had a chance to advertise the show.
For an artist, it's very important that you have write-ups about you. People can read something about you, you know, to further legitimize yourself. Have you ever had any write-ups in any?
Oh yeah. Well, during the opening of Manifest Studio in March, the Share was there, Share newspaper, and they did an article on my work, which got very good reviews from.
If people don't see you, read about you, they won't know you're there, right? And BAT, that's what the BAT is for,
right?
To provide an outlet for artists to be seen by which I consider one of the most important, or the most important media. That's the visible. It's also television is like it combines all the medias in one, because it's closed caption now. You can actually read something. You can it's audio. You can hear something, and it's visuals. You can see something. So it encompasses all those mediums. So that's why it's here. You know.
Well, I think that BAT is something that I'm glad that somebody is trying to do something like that in Wally. I'm glad that you're trying, and Jay producers trying to produce something that's really positive, that really needed, because if you look at what's in Toronto right now in terms of black art, there is representation, but not the potential there with the BAT that you can meet. You can go internationally and worldwide.
Yes. So now. In the basement of the Sherman's dwellings, and checking out some of the exquisite pieces down here, man. Describe some of the pieces for me. For instance, this piece in particular behind you, which is going to be used for the Salafi poster. Describe it to me, man.
This piece is called Hand of the Sword, and like I did it from parable in the scriptures, the Holy Bible, that speaks about the hand of the sword, the parable of the sword, and these basically with the hand of creation being sowing the seeds of life on earth. I call this African liberation. It was made in 1994 in May, the same year African liberation. The apartheid was banished from South Africa, and I drew a map. And as faces, face as you see here represents Mother Africa, eyes, whatever. And this is the oppressive regime being expelled from South Africa, and they have a little bit of intergestion, you know, of all the people that would die during that struggle.
Here, and this piece back here,
well,
seems to be a constructed piece. Made up of found materials, a lot of wood, and it's not as definitive of your last piece. It's actuality's on the painting. You know, what's going on here, Sherman?
Well, this represents soldier. I use different materials, as you can see. I use wood chips, mesh, and
any particular reason why you use the materials?
Well, the third world, because I'm representative of the third world, I use more wood to represent the sort of feeling, the sort of feeling where you don't have the stuff, you don't have all the right things. Like what I mean is like machine, too much machine and everything, you know, like sort of the technology represents.
Okay, and this piece over here, what about describe this piece for us?
Well, I call this one romantic metamorphosis, and it has to do with it's a figure with that has different stages. A face here. See if there's a face here that has different stages of a woman's fantasy of a perfect relationship from her eyes.
Okay. Hey Sherman, this particular painting, right? Tell us about again. You usually see these a lot of different materials like wood and nails and parts of a door and stuff. Give us a little infill on this painting, please.
Well, I call this piece a bad boy. It has to do with a modern day rebel, represent modern day rebel with his gun, violence, trying to protect his own.
What's with the big mouth, man? I see you got a piece with a large mouth. What's with the big mouth?
Yeah, well, the big mouth has to do with a family, and you know, sometimes like my whole theme is about a dysfunctional society, and part of a dysfunctional society is where you have kids in the night trying to sleep, parents having arguments and whatever, and the big mouth represents that you know, keep your mouth shut. The kids are sleeping.
Okay, I see. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I see you paint a lot of paintings on a. A lot of your painting is based specifically on society. What you see happening in society. It's not just a painting of a scenario. Even though I know you have done paintings along that line. What, like, you feel like, are you bearing a cross instead of painting a nice pretty picture? Because some people might say, man, you're pretty pessimistic, man. Like, you got, you know, the hand of soul. You have like a person smoking a crack pipe over there, like a dragon. You know, like you have like a big mouth, like a person's being consumed. You see, you know, what mission are you on? Or do you deem it important for you to portray these things in your work?
Well, yeah, I'm not. It's just a part of reality, you know. Like, how could you not say anything that pertains to your times and your life you live in? Like, you know, Michelangelo and all these guys depicted something in their 14th, 15th century, what was going on then. This is what's going on in the 90s, you know?
Right. Okay. Yeah. I hear that. Very nice. In other words, you're saying like you're saying that the artists now have to not only be a bearer of good news, they also have to be a bearer of real news. I'd like to thank you, Sherman. Thanks for coming out, and again, thanks for the support for Black Arts Television. Peace, one love, and ciao for now, people. Ciao. See you again. Peace. Support the art. It's all good.
I'm the gaffer.